Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be with you all today. And if I may start, I don't know where Jim is. I'm grateful to Jim and the team at the Longevity Forum for bringing us together and giving us the opportunity to speak to you all. I'll try to be as precise as Richard was and build around similar themes. Coming from Abu Dhabi, I don't know how many of you have visited Abu Dhabi, but I definitely and strongly encourage every one of you to come and see it yourself. As a community, we're facing an avalanche of challenges: rising chronic diseases, aging population, spiraling costs, growing health inequities, increasing funding, and innovation gaps, and of course, variable access to advanced therapies. As you would all agree, humanity is facing severe threats to health. We simply cannot wait any longer to shift our focus from reactive to preventative care. Consider this with me for a second. So the World Health Organization reports that non-communicable diseases are responsible for 74 of all adult deaths worldwide. That's not insignificant. And to a significant extent, these are diseases we can prevent. More than 3/4 of all these deaths occur in low and middle income countries. 50%, as you would all know, of the world's population do not have access to healthcare, which again is not insignificant. But even here in the UK, 89% of deaths are caused by non-communicable diseases, which is causing and costing the government over £130 billion. In the UAE, we too are at an alarmingly high rate of 77%. This is a burden on patients, no doubt, on our health systems and our states. It is estimated that worldwide healthcare spending could reach $10 trillion by 2026, which is representing approximately 8 to 10% of the global GDP. The bulk of that spending will be going toward treating chronic diseases. This is simply not sustainable. This point was recently driven home by the UK's Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Wes Streeting, who stated that the NHS treatment needs to move from sickness to prevention, which is what Richard touched upon as well. And he's right. So to date, globally, we have been too focused on the sickness model. This is why I'm here today to give you an insight into what we at M42 are doing on prevention and how we want to collaborate with you to advance the agenda. I've been having conversations with Jim, with Richard, and because we believe in Abu Dhabi, everything's built around partnership. And this is how we do things the Emirati way, which is in the spirit of collaboration, spirit of partnership, and spirit of transparency as well. And I'll touch upon a few examples during the speech. There is a lot we can learn from each other, and I'm excited by the opportunity for future collaboration, which is something we in the UAE prize the most. The UAE has shown that transformative change is possible. There is no other country in the world that was able to transform capital into capability like the United Arab Emirates in such a short period of time. I don't know how many of you know, the UAE is 53 years old. From the fishing settlements of the 1960s, our young country has emerged as a middle power. I still remember growing up and hearing about the difficulties that my parents and grandparents endured. One thing that stuck with me was hearing from my family about the high child mortality rate. Back in the 60s, for every 100 births, 14 funerals were taking place. Abu Dhabi is a very different place now. Our capital city now ranks first in managing sovereign wealth fund capital at around $1.7 trillion. We're building sectors at home as part of the country's economic diversification agenda, and we're investing abroad in future industries to support global progress, all the way from technology to infrastructure. Similarly, back in the 60s, the UAE's healthcare industry was virtually non-existent. until our founder, His Highness, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, envisioned building the sector. Abu Dhabi's healthcare system is now becoming a global benchmark for preventative medicine with state-of-the-art hospitals, robotics, genomics, research, and AI-driven healthcare infrastructure, and of course, breakthroughs. M42 is the forefront of this effort. In 2023, we as M42 were born after one of Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth funds, Mubadala, and G42, an AI giant, merged their healthcare arms, which is simply healthcare provision and healthcare technology come under one roof, which is unprecedented globally. At that point, we set on our mission. We acquired Diaverum, which is the second largest dialysis provider outside of the US globally. We're now the largest healthcare company in the Middle East. So what does that mean? We're transforming healthcare by advancing the 3 Ps: precision, prevention, and prediction. And we're committed to health beyond borders. And we're driven by the conviction that better health leads to better lives and better future. But we're more than just bricks and mortar healthcare company. We're combining the physical and the digital to create an unparalleled data-led ecosystem. And using clinical genomics data sets and deep research to generate insights and tackle health problems head on. This is all happening under one roof in Abu Dhabi. So, how are we shifting from treatment to prevention? Let's talk about AI for a moment. AI is not just a buzzword for us. It is the most powerful tool we have for transforming healthcare as we know it. According to McKinsey and Harvard, AI could generate up to $360 billion annually in healthcare savings in the US only by improving diagnostics and early interventions. At M42, we truly believe that AI is a game changer. And we don't just believe this is as a company, but as a country too. It is no coincidence that Abu Dhabi starts with an A and ends with an I. In October 2017, just days after announcing the UAE's strategy for artificial intelligence, as part of the Centennial 2070 objectives, the UAE appointed the world's first AI minister. Back then, the newly appointed minister, Umar Al-Ulama, was just 27 years old. I still remember the whole world was doubting that specific ministry and the appointment itself. But since then, the world has witnessed unprecedented AI advancements, whether from ChatGPT to Midjourney. And we at M42 have already achieved AI breakthroughs to help disrupt traditional healthcare models. We launched our open access clinical large language model called Med42 and our pioneering AI-powered TB chest X-ray. Med42, as an example, brings us closer to our vision of a multimodal AI platform that integrates models across health data systems, including text, genomics, health records, and imaging. By enabling these models to collaborate and generate insights, we aim to tackle complex healthcare challenges. And we are already integrating AI in diagnostics and treatment at our facilities to progress prevention. For instance, in the UAE, 62% of all colorectal cancer cases affects men, making it the most common cancer among males. It's the third most common cancer in women in the UAE. We have integrated AI into endoscopic colon screening, increasing accuracy, efficiency, and detection. AI algorithms are trained to carefully analyze endoscopic images and videos, helping to identify abnormalities, lesions, and potential signs of cancer. AI also helps to understand the specific characteristics of detected lesions and helps doctors conduct personalized treatment plans and remove precancerous polyps. The key here is early detection, which Richard has touched upon as well, and diagnosis, and then prevention. On X-rays, as another example, our AI-powered system called ARIS-TB is now conducting 2,000 AI-assisted chest X-rays daily to screen for TB which is a tenfold increase on the 200 conventional tests conducted in Gulf markets. And this is happening at a sensitivity of 99.73%, which is not insignificant. These are just a couple of examples of what we are doing. All in all, with AI, we're increasingly able to take vast amounts of data from patients' records, lifestyle factors, and genetic information, and use it to identify high-risk individuals long before systems arise. And to add, we're also aiming to utilize AI in drug discovery to speed up clinical trials through advanced data analysis and pattern recognition. And this we're doing in collaboration with our dear friend here, Richard. This isn't science fiction. It is happening today. And it's happening at scale. Now let's dive deeper into one of the most transformative developments in preventative medicine: genetic testing and genomics. Genomics is offering us an unprecedented opportunity to look into the future and make early interventions that are tailored to patients' unique DNAs. This is work that has the potential to make fundamental difference to the world. The UK's Biobank made significant contributions to the understanding of cancer and rare diseases and showed us that the potential in this space is staggering. What are we doing about it in Abu Dhabi? Take the Emirati Genome Program, which I would assume the majority of you are aware of. In 2021, we launched it with the Department of Health in Abu Dhabi, aiming to sequence the genomes of over 1 million Emiratis to identify genetic markers for diseases. We're now at over 775,000 sequenced, fully sequenced, with a population of about 1.4 million Emiratis, so very close to covering the whole Emirati population. We have sequenced the genomes of more than half the population, in essence. We're doing both short and long sequencing and doing it at 30x depth, aligned with our mantra of sequence once, use for life. We've already started analyzing data, identifying health threats, and issuing tailored reports, enabling us to treat diseases quicker, better, and at a reduced cost. This is one of the world's largest programs, run from M42's Omics Center of Excellence, the largest outside the US, led by my colleagues here, Dr. Fahad Al-Marzouqi and Paul. And I welcome you all to come and visit. The sooner the better. Our Omics Center is delivering end-to-end capabilities, positioning us to support countries to initiate the kind of programs that will have a transformational impact on their healthcare systems, or work with countries by taking our expertise to their markets with a build, operate, and transfer model. We want to take this to the world because we fundamentally believe this work will address prevention gaps globally. Genomics will play a significant role in enhancing the understanding of the root cause of genetic diseases and the susceptibility to rare diseases. It will help improve patient outcomes and reduce the burden of disease long before it manifests. To elaborate, we recently launched a premarital genetics screening program in Abu Dhabi to tackle the high prevalence of genetic disorders within the Emirati population, partially attributed to the region's history of blood-related marriages, which is a significant problem we dealt with in the past. The good news is no longer the case. This is a global first on this scale, where we use a 575 gene panel, which screens for about 850 autosomal recessive disorders. In the first phase, we have identified the 15% positivity rate of what we call the hidden disease. Couples are now able to take preventative action to ensure their future child does not live with an inherited disease. And allow me to tell you two further stories about how we are using this program to advance prevention. We invited the 36-year-old female to our genetic counseling clinic at one of our hospitals, Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi. This patient had a family history of colon cancer, and her mother had a mutation in her MLH1 gene, which is associated with Lynch syndrome. After genetic testing, the result came back negative for that specific gene, but surprisingly, positive for a BRCA1 gene mutation, which is associated with the hereditary breast and ovarian cancer. She received increased observations and risk-reducing interventions for cancer prevention. Her close plus blood relatives were also offered genetic testing, and their father was also found positive and is being supported as we speak. Another story. A 40-year-old female patient had a family history of type 2 multiple endocrine neoplasia, or MEN2, and a family history of medullary thyroid cancer. The genetic result came back positive for a pathogenic mutation in the RET gene associated with the disease. Her risk to develop medullary thyroid cancer was deemed to be 100%. We offered the patient total thyroidectomy, which will prevent her from developing the cancer. These are only two stories of the substantial change we are seeing when remodeling our healthcare system to one that drives early diagnosis and preventative action. It helps the patient have a better quality of life, it reduces the healthcare system's workload, and it saves the state from funding expensive care later in the process. This is just the beginning. At M42, we're also focused on prediction using data, modeling to predict diseases, address them, and reduce the burden on the healthcare system. Imagine if we could work together and support each other in our collective endeavors on prevention and prediction and scale it. What would that mean for our healthcare systems globally? What would that mean for humanity, which is paramount to all of us? Let's not imagine. Let's make it a reality. Together we can march for the benefit of the people in the UAE, the UK, and the world. Healthcare is a universal human right, and preventative care is critical to reducing the immense health disparities that exist globally. As we push the boundaries of innovation, we must ensure that these advancements are accessible to every single human being alive, regardless of the geography or economic status. The democratization of care is vital for global health. The message is clear. The future of the world is in healthcare, and the future of healthcare is in prevention, and the future of prevention is simply collaboration. We must work together across borders and sectors to pool our knowledge and resources. The stakes are too high for us to action in silos. Whether we're talking about sharing genomics data, developing AI-driven models of care, or reforming outdated systems, we literally cannot afford to work alone. We cannot afford it, simply. We need a global effort to accelerate the adoption of preventative care. This means partnerships between governments, healthcare providers, tech companies, and research institutions. By acting together and drawing on our complementary expertise, resources, and reach, our impact is magnified beyond the sum of its parts. The questions I will leave you with are: how can you contribute to this global shift to prevention? How can we collectively together ensure that the advances in AI and genomics are accessible to all, from the UK to the UAE and to the world? And how can we partner on prevention to progress our common cause for humanity? The solutions to our most pressing healthcare challenges already exist. What we need now is collective will to implement them. Prevention is the battleground where diseases must be fought if we are to have any chance of transforming healthcare and benefiting humanity. I ask that you join us in this fight. Thank you very much for your time today and for listening. Thank you.